Blades, so back on the road today after a good result against Derby at the weekend. Today we've travelled to the Riverside to face a Middlesbrough team struggling for goals and struggling for confidence at the moment. I'm sure we're really hoping that we can continue our rich vein of form of the last few weeks. Line-up wise was pretty much what we're used to, for the only exception of Ender Stevens coming in at left back for Norton Davies, and we actually had 𝐍𝐚𝐽𝐽𝐝 back on the bench, which was good for all of us to see. We started the match really well actually, that left-hand side looking really good actually, putting some nice moves together, and it created an opportunity early on for Ndiaye, who probably didn't strike his shot as well as he'd wanted, and it went straight to the goalkeeper, but it was a nice passage to play from us. And we were certainly looking the team and looking hopefully to get that first goal. Alas, unfortunately, that did not happen, and we went 1-0 behind on about 8 minutes from a Duncan Watmore shot. It was brought down nicely out wide, played into the middle. He was in acres of space and rifled one into the top corner. It's a great strike, not going to lie, but again, it was another goal that is showing our defensive fragilities that have been causing us problems for a long time now, and is something that does need to get sorted if you want to be anywhere near the top come the end of the season. We weren't the best in possession this half, in my opinion, guys. Our passes were wayward quite a lot of the time. We weren't quick enough. Combining that with poor decision-making in both halves, really, attacking-wise and defensive-wise, we just weren't at it, I don't think. Probably the best chance of the half from us came through Ndiaye again, making a lovely run, and he was put through over the top. He brought it down fantastically, and he smacked it against the post. Really unfortunate for him, but could he have put Osborne through for a tap-in? Probably, but it is good to see our attacking players showing a bit of confidence, wanting to have a shot. And for my opinion, Ndiaye was probably the best attacking outlet we had in that first half. So hopefully he continues to perform well for us. Shortly after that, unfortunately, we did go 2 goals behind on about 38 minutes. Another annoying goal to concede, really. Taking nothing away from the shot from McNair, because it was a fantastic drilled effort into the bottom corner. But again, where were the midfield in absolute acres of space? They were a bit non-existent that half, in my opinion. But yeah, it weren't the best half. We really need to up the antics in the second half and hopefully create some more chances to give us a chance of getting anything from this game. So we'll see how it goes. Up the Blades.
Hiya Blades. So after a sloppy first half that sees us 2-0 down, we're now obviously coming into the second half trying to chase the game. At half time, Slav's done a sub, Norwood goes off and 𝐍𝐚𝐽𝐽𝐝 comes on. Now, 𝐍𝐚𝐽𝐽𝐝 I thought played quite well. I think he himself had a couple of chances and did sort of positively impact United. However, I'm not sure this sub was quite the right one for us at the time, especially in hindsight. Now, I feel as though we lost something in midfield. We didn't have anything where we could get a hold of the game. And I'm just not quite sure what we changed our shape to try and be in this second half. Like I say, we did have our bright moments. We had a really nice passage of play where we break. Billy holds it up quite well on the left wing, floats across to the back post, and Egan heads it down, and 𝐍𝐚𝐽𝐝 hits a volley from about 20 yards. Their keeper makes a good save, pushes it out for a corner, which of course comes to nothing. Dids had another chance, again, ball into the back post. This time I think Billy's challenging for it and it just drops into the middle. 𝐍𝐽𝐽𝐝 runs on, hits a nice volley, again going into the corner. Doesn't catch it quite as well as he could, but it's a good block by Bamba to keep that out at a stretch. But that was really it in terms of good chances for United. And 45 minutes, chasing a game, 2-0 down, we want to see a little bit more than that. It's just not really good enough. I think it's a problem that we've got when we do go behind, that we aren't going to be creating chances and we aren't the same team that we are once we go ahead. Now, there was a potential flashpoint in this game. I think their striker, I think it's 𝐸𝐸, he's really lucky not to get sent off. And I wonder if this is because Baldock doesn't go down. So they're both chasing the ball back. Baldock wins the free kick. First of all, as Baldock's moving away, 𝐸𝐸 sort of lightly slaps at the back of his head. But then sort of 30 seconds later, they come back together and 𝐸𝐸 pushes his head up against Baldock. Now, we've seen this time and time again. If Baldock goes down, it's a red card, but Baldock stands up. He just says to the ref, look, what's he doing? And it's a yellow card for the striker. Not sure it has a huge impact on the result. ultimately, because we saw us against 10 men at the weekend, and I'm not sure we would have broke BORO down anyway, but it just really compounds that frustration on a performance like tonight. So a disappointing second half, a disappointing result, and hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more from this team, because we've got more to offer than that, especially creatively, because we just did not create anywhere near enough.
Well, Blades fans, mediocre performance from the team. Pretty boring game overall. Not one that I think any of us enjoyed watching it or being there in person. So we're going to breeze right through these player ratings, get to the good stuff, the positives and negatives, and the where do we go from here. So starting in goal, we have Olsen today, giving him a 4. Wasn't necessarily at fault for the 2 goals, but definitely could have had some better positioning, maybe got a hand to one of them. Moving on to our defense, we have John Egan. I'm giving him a 5 today. Really wasn't involved in any of our set pieces, wasn't able to get ahead on any of the balls coming in from corners and free kicks, but was solid at the back. Nothing too bad there. Ben Davies today gets a 6 from me. I thought he had one mistake where he had a very weak pass trying to get the ball to Norwood and gave the ball away, but he did a great job recovering, and I thought he did a really good job. And then the entire second half, when Egan was trying to push forward to be involved in the attack and the whole team was trying to get a goal, he was basically our last line of defense, and he did an outstanding job holding the back line. So a 6 from Davies for me today. Moving on to our wing backs. George Baldock gets a 4.5 today. I think he definitely could have done better on the first goal. From positioning wise, he kind of left the slot open there for the Middlesbrough player to score. And his crosses today weren't necessarily the best, but maybe that was just because we saw so few of them, since most of the play, especially in the first half, was going down that left-hand side. Moving on to Enda Stevens on the left, I thought he did okay, 5.5 today. Probably didn't deserve to be subbed off, but maybe there was a fitness issue, which is why 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝 took him off in the second half. Moving on to our midfield duo of Fleck and Norwood. Fleck today gets a 5 from me. Pretty good, but just a bog standard performance, nothing special. Didn't really make any big mistakes, but we need a bit more from him if we're going to win matches, if we're going to create good chances. And same from Norwood, 5.5 today from me. I thought he was actually the better of the two in the first half, and I definitely would not have subbed him off at halftime, but 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝 felt that bringing on 𝐼𝐚𝐳𝐸𝐞𝐝, a more attacking player, was the way to go. Whether that was the right call or not, we know it wasn't, because we didn't win the match, but there's definitely some debate there. But I thought Norwood a little harsh to get taken off at halftime. Moving on to our attacking midfield trio, starting with Osborne on the left. I gave Osborne a 6 today. Every time I'm watching the Blades, he is out there running his heart out, making all the good runs, crossing the ball. Not the best of crosses today. Obviously, we didn't get any goals scored, and no real big chances created, but I thought he was out there putting a good shift in, and really working out there today. 𝐚𝐽𝐸𝐸, same, gave him a 5 today. I thought he had one really good chance where the ball went off the post, probably our best chance of the game. He wasn't getting the ball passed to him, and maybe that's because he was playing out on the right and in the center a bit more. It was getting a little crowded, so many Middlesbrough players sitting back on defense, and so maybe it wasn't necessarily his fault, but a 5 from me today for 𝐚𝐽𝐸𝐸. Morgan Gibbs-White gets a 4.5 today from me. Definitely his worst performance as a Blade, but that's pretty easy since the rest of his performances, as Adam has said, have been 9 out of 10 worthy for the whole of his loan stint so far. But yeah, today definitely not his best. He was even getting a little frustrated. You could tell him and Billy Sharp jawing at each other a little bit in the second half. Hopefully that's just, heat of the moment in the match kind of stuff, and they can work that out on the training pitch and no issues going forward. And speaking of Billy Sharp, today gave him a 4. Not the Billy Sharp we've seen so far this season. Didn't look like he had a goal in him today. A couple wayward shots, a couple hitting defenders, and just I'm not sure the positioning where he was out wide, playing like a winger on both sides, if that was something 𝐍𝐸𝐫𝐝 told him to do, if that was something he took on his own to play out there. But regardless, it was not the right choice. It was not where he needs to be playing. He needs to be in the middle, getting on the end of crosses, getting rebounds, putting the ball in, and he wasn't doing that today, so a 4 from me. Moving on to our subs, I think 𝐷𝐸𝐷𝐸 did a pretty good job when he came on. Gave him a 5.5. Had a really good shot from distance that was saved by the goalkeeper. I think a little bit more luck, the ball bending the other way, he could have found the top corner there. Rhys Norrington-Davies, I gave a 5 today. I thought he did a decent job, nothing wrong. He had one chance where the ball came out to him, and he played it to nobody, really, and definitely could have recycled play a bit better there, taken an extra touch, a dribble or two, and found a better pass. But no real mistakes from him. And Howard Hand, same thing, 4.5 from me. The set pieces weren't as good, but he wasn't on the field long enough to really make a huge impact, so I can't really fault him there. And finally, for our manager, 𝐍𝐨𝐫𝐝, I gave a 3 today. I think everyone would agree the starting 11 that he put out there was probably our best, if not the best, starting 11 we have with the players that we have. And playing Middlesbrough, we all expected that this should have been a win, a game that we were in control, getting goals, and it wasn't. And 𝐍𝐶𝐫𝐝 was very slow to react. He made a halftime change that a lot of us would not have made, and in hindsight wasn't the correct decision because it didn't yield any goals. And the other subs, were they fitness related with Stevens, Norwood, and 𝐍𝐸𝐽𝐝, or were those subs just him trying to tinker? Either way, the result wasn't there, and I think he needs to work on that moving forward. But anyways, speaking of moving forward, we're going to go on to positives and negatives from here.
Good evening, and thanks to Rob there for that. And now on to the positives and negatives of the game. Obviously, it's a loss. It's a loss away from home. It's a game we should have really come away with at least a point with. So, positives are very slender and negatives are quite a bit of evidence for that. Firstly, I thought really positives. I thought we started well with the game. I thought the first 5 minutes showed that, especially with a more robust left-hand side, a lot of interplay going down that left-hand side, that we'd at least come away with a point from that game and do something. I thought we may even pip it, with the endeavour that was going on. But the crosses were poor. The balls into the box, we faffed about too much in the box, passing instead of having a crack on goal. We failed to make an impact, and then it all fizzled out, didn't it? A bit of slack marking, a little bit of lack of concentration in the box. Nobody picks Watmore up, and he kills an absolutely splendid ball past Olsen, who was at full stretch, straight into the top corner. Stunned everybody, really. But it was a great goal, and we shouldn't be giving goals like that away. Similarly, the second goal was a real mess of poor marking and poor clearing. We were up at 6s and 7s and had to get rid of the ball from their press deep into our half, and suddenly the ball's in the back of the net, and the game effectively is lost. Then, Slav made some substitutes. They made a substitute at half time with 𝐍𝐸𝐽𝐝 coming on, who did introduce, on a positive note, a bit of class into the game, did he not? His skill, his vision, his positioning, and his ability to find people, and even that shot near the end, which was a cracking drive, which their keeper struggled to keep out. I think it was fantastic. It's a great indication about what he can do, and I think we need to see a little bit more of him, because when he's involved in the game, we do see a little bit more of the more front-footed United that we need to see. But across the park, I thought we were really slack passing. I thought although we had a load of possession, I thought half-hit passes which they were intercepting, failure to find or even look across the park to find people in space. I thought we really wasted that 65% possession, in my opinion. We didn't really capitalise on anything moving forward. We kind of failed to dominate in the midfield, because basically we let them dominate. Their midfield of McNair, Howson and Crooks just seemed to be all over us all the time, and we seemed to have no answer for the big guy at the back, Bamba. Regardless of, and Billy was just nowhere to be seen against him. He was completely taken out of the game. Overall, it's disappointing once again, isn't it? It's not exactly a good show for Sheffield United, especially moving on next with where do we go from here, considering we've got a game on Saturday against Bournemouth, who might just capitalise on our weaknesses. Anyway, take care. Up the Blades.
Hi Blades. So after last night's match, where do we go from here? Short answer is I don't know. Long answer is something needs to change, and I don't think it entirely lies with the players that we've got on the pitch at the minute. The display that we put on last night, with only one change in bringing Enda back into the side, is just completely different. from how we played over at the weekend. Even though we did only end up with the 1 goal from Billy's pen, we looked a much stronger and more confident side. And then in putting exactly the same team out and trying to do that same thing and get into a rhythm that we have been doing, we just had absolutely no chance. They were running rings around us. We were just trying and doing the same thing over and over again without any payoff, and didn't look like we were getting any more ideas from where to go from there. Completely agreed with bringing Norwood off. �𝐚𝐳𝐬𝐜𝐝 did look like he offered a bit of something when he came on, but obviously not enough. Personally, I would want to bring 𝐍𝐸𝐽𝐝 into the side. We've seen what he's got to offer from a couple of times when he's played previously. You can see when he's out there how well he's communicating with everyone and bringing the midfield together, which we are obviously still just so weak in. But we just looked caught. We were out of ideas. We were out of position. Billy was on the side for most of it, rather than where he should be. And he's not going to be scoring any goals for us from out there. So I think I've not got high hopes going into to Bournemouth. But I think it's going to be what we can get over the international break now. What Slav can have a word with him and bring him into his way of thinking, his style of play, and then hopefully come back with some fresh ideas after the break. So fingers crossed, it's just a little blip and we'll be onwards and upwards from here.